Hi, this is Prex, and welcome to the first episode of What I Read. Now, don't get your hopes up. This being the first episode doesn't mean that there will be a second. This project is only an offshoot of my monthly archives in my blog, where I feature articles that I read, in the month. Now, before we move on, a disclaimer is in order. The Right Reads and Penguin, in cooperation with Netgalley, provided me an electronic eARC of the novel Bad Habits by Flynn Meaney in exchange of an honest review. Now, let's talk about the book. Bad Habits was published by Penguin on February 11, 2021, and is currently available in Amazon. The blurb. It's hilarious, bold, sparky, and surprising. This is the funniest feminist book you'll read all year. For some summary from Goodreads. Alex is a rebel from the tip of her purple faux hawk to the toes of her biker boots. She's tried everything she can think of to get expelled from her strict Catholic boarding school. Nothing has worked so far, but now, Alex has a new plan. Tired of the sexism she sees in every corner of St. Mary's, Alex decides to stage the school's first ever production of the Vagina Monologues, which is going to be a challenge as no one else at St. Mary's can even bear to say the word vagina out loud. About the author, Flynn Meaney, excuse me if I wasn't able to pronounce her name correctly. Is it Meaney? Seriously, I don't want to murder her name, so I will just call her Flynn. Is the author of The Boy Recession and Bloodthirsty. She studied marketing and French at the University of Notre Dame, where she barely survived the terrifying array of priests and nuns, campus ghosts, and bone-crushing athletes who inspired Bad Habits. Since completing a very practical Master's of Fine Arts in Poetry, she works for a French company and travels often between New York when she's in the mood for bagels and Paris when she's in the mood for croissant. There are so many ways how a person can review this novel, but I decided to focus on its central figure, Alex. Hats off to the book vloggers here on YouTube. It's quite difficult to give you scenes about the novel without spoiling too much. Alex Heck is a Picaro. Now, what is a Picaro? A Picaro is an unreliable narrator who loves to exaggerate and brag. Alex narrates her exploits with hilarious, bold, and dramatic details. The book being narrated in first-person perspective has a lot of emphasis on Alex, a self-proclaimed feminist, being that bad bitch, and oftentimes it appears as if she was desperate not to fit in St. Mary's, her Catholic boarding school. There are other ways to get expelled. She doesn't even need to get expelled. She just needs to leave her boarding school. It was easy for her in one of the scenes, which I'm not going to tell you. Feminism as a theme. The novel explores feminism from Alex's perspective and makes it accessible to young audiences. However, her perspective has to be taken with a grain of salt as, like what I mentioned, Alex is a very subjective narrator. There are so many sides to feminism, and in this novel, we can only view it from the perspective of a high school student. Alex comes off to me as if she only read the Vagina Monologues. I might be treating her as a real person by saying this, but I think she needs to be exposed to other materials to understand further what feminism is all about. There are moments when I'm given the impression that Alex claims to be a feminist because it sets her apart from the other students in St. Mary's. Other characters in the novel show different facets of femininity as well, like Mary Kate and Katie Casey. My general take on the Bad Habits. Young adult readers such as myself have already learned to anticipate Bildungsroman in novels. That is what we are here for, the ultimate twist, the big character development. Alex, being the Picaro narrator of Bad Habits, provides just that. Reading between the lines, deciphering what she wants to say as opposed to how she delivers it, I find that the novel has a good foundation. The presence of the other characters, like the charismatic Pat, the cool-headed Katie Casey, and the multifaceted Mary Kate, has made the entire novel entertaining and Alex's epiphany worth the wait. Visit my blog to read the full review.